there she is. Hey, and I'm going to make this one live. All right.
Good morning, as I adjust my stand. We'll be starting.
Yay. Bravo. That was beautiful this morning.
Because of my glasses, it's weird.
Yeah. Can you okay?
I can. I just had to raise it
Also,
up because then I feel like I'm doing this.
Yes, seriously. I don't know about Reverend Cheryl. It can go taller.
How tall
Happy to
are you?
make
You're
it.
tall. Yeah. Okay, so I just pulled it up a little bit, so you're okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're good.
I used to be tall.
You're statuesque. I would call you statuesque.
Thank you. What is your height now? I carry it well. Actually, the last time they measured my height, I was down to 5'4"3/4". I used to be 5'6.5".
Yeah, you do.
I do. Yes.
Yeah, you seem tall. You're pretty.
That's why when people know what I weigh, they go, "You do not," because I carry it well. That's good. Oh, I'm lying. Now you all know I'm lying.
Yes. I'm getting to know.
Yeah. I was just going to share something else, but.
But no, really, we looked at getting together. Okay, we're gonna get this started here.
My mother sent me to Barbizon when I was in. Swear to God. And so
Okay.
I know they teach you. So weird. Anyway. Yes, we're starting?
Yeah, we'll just get back to the beginning here. Yeah, there he is.
We lose the first slide.
I guess we did.
Oh,
all right. Starting here.
Yes. Waiting for my point. Oh.
I don't know.
Hello, and welcome to Unity. My name is Judy Laganga. It is such a blessing to see shining lights in person here in Fredericksburg, and a big welcome to everyone joining us on Facebook and YouTube and wherever you may be. We so love having you with us here in spirit. Be sure to like and share our live stream. Here at Unity, we begin with a simple moment of connection with our spiritual nature. Our Christ candle reminds us that within each person there is divine light. As we light this candle now, I invite you to say,
We open our hearts and minds to the sacredness of all people. We are willing to shine our inner light into the world, and we make space for others to do the same.
And now we offer an affirmative prayer together.
With peaceful hearts, we are open to the divine flow of abundance, ideas, and substance.
This morning, we welcome Reverend Cheryl. She is a freelance ordained Unity minister and teacher, inspirational speaker, published playwright, actor, producer, director, organizational consultant, and heart-centered metaphysician. Cheryl has a passion for Unity principles and shares openly how using practical truth teachings have guided her exceptional life challenges. Cheryl is a Master of Fine Arts with a 35 career in performing arts before shifting her focus to Unity in 2017. We are so lucky to have her. And now the blessing of the children.
We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Mwah. We love you guys. Thank you.
Our mission statement.
We are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through Unity, a positive path for spiritual living.
This week's principle is principle number 5. Together.
It is not enough to understand spiritual teachings. We must live the truth we know.
Community news.
Oh, yeah, fun.
Yeah, fun. Join us today after service for some lunch and fellowship at our monthly potluck. All are welcome. Even those of you at home, hurry up, get in your car. Come on. And we plan to continue fellowship on the fourth Sunday each month. There's a refrigerator here for cold storage and plenty of space for crock pots and plates or platters in the break room. If you are not here today, get in your car, come on down. Make plans to join us again on the next fourth Sunday, which would be September 25th.
Yay.
Angel painting, we have that one.
Yeah.
Okay. This is angel painting we mentioned last week that needs a babysitter for a period of time. It is the same one that hung in the front of our sanctuary back at General Washington Center. Someone has already volunteered to provide a home for the painting. Hope we can make the connection this week.
It is beautiful. It really is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Seen it. Yes, it is. It is.
Yes.
Okay, beginning September 4th, we will move from live streaming on Facebook and YouTube to YouTube only. So forget the Facebook thing. You find the YouTube link in the weekly newsletter, I think, or www.uofva.org. And you would click on the media tab and it'll do what you need to click on. Now, Thurman Brisbane, donations for the Thurman Brisbane Food Group has been in. We so appreciate your generosity. Keep it coming. This group, coordinated by Bonnie Oaks, has been serving for over 20 years. Let's keep it growing. $5, $10, or $50, any amount will help continue the program into 2023 and beyond. It says, let Judy or anyone on the board know you want your gift to go to the Thurman Brisbane Fund. But I'll give you a little hint. If you click on the donate button in the newsletter that it talks about Thurman Brisbane, you click on that button, it shows up as a Thurman Brisbane donation.
Oh, yay.
If you do it through PayPal, there's a memo and you can write there that you want it to go to Thurman Brisbane. Or you can email me and tell me, I just sent $1 million and I'm
Yes,
Thurman
yeah.
Brisbane. Yes, we can do that. In fact, this Tuesday, August 31st is the next serving date, and you can contact Bonnie if you are able to help out. Namaste, and thank you. Our statement of commitment. Unity of Fredericksburg stands in solidarity with all people for diversity and inclusion. In the newsletter this week is a video entitled The Language of Social Justice, and the speaker is Alexandra Campion. Equity, diversity, and inclusion language that holds back our mission. Alexandra Campion is a marketing and communications recruitment coordinator at the University of Wisconsin Green Bay Office of Admission. She generates contact and executes marketing campaigns that introduce prospective students to UW Gray education while striving to eliminate barriers for first-generation and or minority students as they embark on their higher education journey. After photographing Wisconsin marches for Jacob Blake in 2020, Alexandra became entrenched in the fight for racial equality, both locally and video. It's pretty interesting. We would like to take a moment to focus our hearts on the people of Ukraine. Our hearts join together in prayer for the people of Ukraine. We hold the highest vision for peace and tranquility. We give that God is present in every situation. We have Linda Thornton, who is going to read our daily word, purpose.
There it is.
There we go. I pursue my purpose with passion. Over the course of my life, I have discovered what has kindled my passions, captivated my attention, and made me feel most alive. My passions lead me to discover my purpose, to which I choose to devote my time in my life. My highest spiritual purpose is to live from my divine nature. My divine gifts of life, love, and wisdom expressed uniquely through my passions, fulfilling me while demonstrating the truth of my being. I listen to the still, small voice of spirit within to discern the best way to fulfill my purpose. I heed its call to learn, discover, and grow. It is never too early or too late to embark upon time. I am ready, willing, and more than able. The reading is from John 18:37. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. And together we say,
I pursue my purpose with passion. Oh, great image.
And now, Reverend Cheryl Fair.
Thank you, Judy, Linda, and Chris, who's back there doing all of the wonderful technology for us. I am gonna move this down just a little bit. Well, yeah, I just need to have space.
Space.
So, we begin today with a story. A 10-year-old boy wanted to learn judo, but he had lost his left arm in a devastating car accident. But his desire to learn judo was just sticking brave enough to go to a renowned judo master and ask him if he would teach him judo. And the master said yes. So the lessons began, beginning with the basics. After 3 months of training, the boy realized that his lessons were focused on only one move. And he was confused, so he asked, "Sensei, shouldn't I be learning more moves?" The master replied, "This is the only move you will ever need." The boy didn't really understand, but he trusted his teacher, so he kept practicing. Soon the sensei took the boy to his first tournament. His first match with ease. In the third match, the boy's opponent became very frustrated and angry and charged at him with all his strength, and yet the boy still won. The boy's success continued even though he only used the one move that he knew. On the third day of the tournament, the boy found himself in the championship match, facing a bigger, stronger, and much more experienced opponent. As the match began, the referee actually paused, concerned that the boy might become hurt, and asked the sensei if the match be suspended. The sensei confidently said no, the match will continue. The match went on, the boy, feeling overconfident, let his guard down, and the boy used his move and his opponent and won the tournament. On the way home from the tournament, the boy gathered his courage and asked, "Say, how did I win the tournament with only one move?" And the sensei replied, "You won for 2 reasons. First, you persevered, mastered one of the most difficult moves in judo. And second, the only known defense for the move you know is to grab the left arm."
Oh, that's a
And
great.
so, the boy came to learn that his greatest weakness become his greatest strength. So, that's how I need to share that we are continuing with our journey through the 12 powers today. And our power, as we head into September, is strength. We're following the order that is in the book that we're studying, our Thursday night discussion group, which is Divine Audacity. So we're going into talking about strength. And I had a real challenge putting together a message today, mostly because there were so many different examples and ways to talk about strength, and So it took me a while to sort of like whittle it down, sort of choose things that I wanted to talk about. And then sometimes this happens, I'll get ready the day before I go to sleep and I wake up in the morning and, the divine impulse is like, oh no, but you need to do this. It's like, okay, so we're just gonna see what's gonna happen here because I'm not quite sure. Um, so let's start with some of the basics. So we're talking about the power of strength. When the 12 powers were put together by Charles Fillmore, he always kind of linked things up with the Bible, and there are usually, people in the Unity crowd that like to vibe with the Bible stuff. So there is a disciple associated with each power, and the disciple for the power of strength is Andrew. That's Andrew, brother of Simon Peter, the brother fisherman. And the word Andrew, the name actually in Greek means strong man. Associated with the power of strength is a spring green.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, a spring green. Yes, exactly.
Whoa.
And I looked through my wardrobe. I was like, oh, I should wear green. I don't have green. So it was like, well, I'll just have to think green. The location in the body is the lower part. So if you think of your foundation emanating from your lower back, and I would say very often some of us experience issues with our lower back.
Yes.
So this is it's an opportunity for us to look at our power of spiritual level and work with our body. So there are lots of different ways to, like I said, I had a challenge sort of choosing, well, what do I talk about this, talk about that. There are all stories, just like the one that I shared with you. So I'll talk about a few things, and then I'll kind of get to three things in particular that I would like to lean into. So the first approach is to look at, I always like to look at any aspect of our divine nature, talking about of what our founders called the threefold nature of humanity. So I always like to look at it from the layer of our physical body as humans, our consciousness, so our thoughts and our feelings, and then the level of spirit. So we can look at strength in those kinds of ways. And when it comes to strength, I have a particular passion for it because I have spent some time practicing in the body. So I don't remember how much I might have shared with you or not. My body talks about how I will share things. So it's a much longer story, but let me just start with some basics of, in 2015, I was involved in a very serious car accident. I remember being in the hospital and asking at one point, like, how many broken bones do I have? And having whoever the unfortunate person was that was standing there just because it was beyond that. So the short list as I know it was I had 2 broken hips, a shattered pelvis, 3 breaks in my spine, a broken sternum, and assorted broken ribs. So take a breath, because that's quite a laundry list. So I speak about things like healing and wholeness and our strength. I speak from a perspective of having learned about unity principles and then found myself in circumstances where I had an opportunity to practice and practice a lot. So when we talk about the threefold nature of humanity, and I look at the example, say, of Myrtle Fillmore, who started practicing and talking with her body about how strong it was and encouraging it and being grateful to it for all that it did for so many years, and practicing that strength, that perseverance, that is, what I have seen as the real deal here, folks. that one can go from a place of profoundness to physical, and engage with the spirit and bring the body along to a place of functioning once again. And and I'm excited about it. I have a passion for it because I know it works. So we talk about strength in the physical. We also talk about strength when it comes to our thoughts and our feelings, which of course is, what we use to manage all of this out here in our body. So the essential work that Unity shares with us in our basic practices of what in the old language is called denials, I call intentional release, but intentional release of thoughts that are not helpful to us, and moving into affirmations where we can affirm strength and courage and those kinds of things, is that arena in which we can work with our consciousness. So that's sort of the middle level of our threefold nature. And of course, through that all, we are engaging with the truth of what we are, which is expressions of all that is, and strength being an element of that which we call God or the universe or divine mind or whatever your favorite name for it is. So, like I said, I like to sort of, whenever I'm talking about any topic, sort of look at it at how it rolls out in those three layers, because there are a lot of spiritual practices that just focus on one layer or just focus on the other, but this physical life that we're having, these bodies that we have, the stuff that we're doing is a part of it is a part of our lives, and in Unity, we bring it right along, even with all of its boo-boos and all of its, all the mistakes we make. That's a part of who we are as we show up as 100% human and 100% divine, all and at the same time. So that's one way of coming at strength. Another way to look at strength is in the realm of when we are out here in the world, when we're using it too little, when we're using it too much. And I think there are, particularly on the too much side, there are kind of insights that I like to talk about. In the too little, we can imagine things like not speaking up for yourself, or not speaking up on behalf of others, not sticking with it on something, like, I really, and I let it drop for this reason, that reason, that sticking with it energy is your strength. That not speaking up, speaking up that's your strength, it's your courage. Like in the story, it's like there are a couple places where the boy wants to ask a question, but first he has to get to a point where he feels brave enough to ask what's going on here. So that's part of our power of strength. And a lot of this is in that realm of our consciousness with our feelings. In the too much side of it, I find a lot of insight there. So thinking about sort of if you're using your power of strength, kind of misusing it too much, you might be holding on to something that you really need to let go. Using your strength to just grip on to something that it's really time to let it go. And that can show up in an arena of like hoarding, but also kind of hoarding and holding on to beliefs, or we always do it this way. That you're using your power of strength, but you're using it in a way that's not productive. So stubbornness, rigidity, I have it this way, or it's just not going to work. And you're using your power of strength, but look how you're using it. So I think there are particular insights with those kind of things. So I wanted to include those in my mentions. But I really want to lean into three particular aspects of the power of strength. And the first is looking at where strength comes from. And where strength is an aspect of all that is. that which we call God. So in unity, our first two principles are really clear that we talk about one presence and one power. So there is a depth of strength in the universe, in that which we call God, that is limitless, that is fully present all the time. And of course, each and every one of us is expressing that at the point of us. So we have available to us, when we engage with our source, a limitless well of strength that we can use for overcoming, for speaking up, for sticking with it, for encouraging our bodies to heal and work through injury and surgery and things like that. We have an infinite well of that. It is, here actually, as I was doing my research, I found on the website of unity.net descriptions of truth talks from Charles Fillmore. The Fillmores they didn't do church on Sunday. They had their prayer ministry, which was Silent Unity, but they did kind of group sessions where he did truth talks. So this is an excerpt from a talk. So these are the words of Charles Fillmore, and he's talking about the power of strength. And he says, "Then make your affirmation. God is the strength of my life. I am not weak. I am not tired. There is no weakness in my world. I am filled with an increasing strength and power. God is the strength of my life. I rejoice in strength. I feel the strength of the Spirit. I don't deplete my forces in any sense consciousness. My mind doesn't run away in the way of the material world, but in the way of the Spirit. Charge your mind with these ideas of Spirit. Lift yourselves up into the high consciousness of the Spirit, and you will feel the power." And then what follows is actually a physical meditation that he leads his group to. He asks everyone to stand up. He talks about shining the green light of strength through different parts of the body. I mean, it read like something that that we will practice later when we do our meditation. So it was really lovely to look at. A lot of times the writings of Fillmore are kind of dense and difficult to get through. So very often when like I come to speak, I'm gonna read the Fillmore. I do that as a service to you all. I don't ask you to do that. So see his words laid out in this way, and read of him doing kind of like a physical practice with everyone, a meditation, and it was all around acknowledging that strength comes from that which we call God. That source is where we get strength from. So when we're in our humanness and we're not feeling strong, we're not, it's a matter of opening up our awareness to everything that is available to us in potential in every moment. So that's the first thing that I really want to, give you as a takeaway today. The second one is to look at strength as non-resistance, which kind of works counter to a lot of ways in which strength is portrayed in our dominant culture, right? Because strength obviously is portrayed like, big muscles, big muscle truck, big, all those kinds of things. And that kind of competitive victor-victim mentality that's very prevalent in our culture, of winning and competing, and the value of that kind of strength. But I would like to point out to you an example from the Bible, from Scripture, Jesus. So Jesus spends his his 40 days in the wilderness facing temptation? And does he actively engage with that which is called Satan? Basically, these are ideas that keep showing up. Well, you could do this, you could have this, you could do that. And they're like, fight? Does he, let's debate it? He doesn't engage. He moves through that process in a state of non-resistance. Stuff shows up, you don't have to go there. You can stay centered. So I have in the book of the 12 powers that is provided by Unity, there are actually kind of two full books. There's the part that's by Charles Fillmore, and then there's the part called Christ Enthroned in Man, and it's written by Cora Fillmore, which was Charles Fillmore's second wife after Myrtle Fillmore passed away. And so I always make a point of reading both. She has a very different way of approaching things. It's about this example of Jesus and strength and non-resistance. So I'm going to read that to you for a little bit. When Jesus withstood the temptations in the wilderness, he proved beyond all question that he possessed the strength of character that the Almighty required. We are working for this same unfoldment, to be established in the consciousness of sustaining strength means we have overcome as Jesus Christ overcame. The joy of the overcomer may be ours. When we hold our ground in the face of temptation and refuse to yield to the allurements of the world or of sense consciousness, no doubt the very angels shout for joy. True strength of character, though non-resistant, withstands the tricky, treacherous movements of the adversary in any guise. So she's cluing into this example that we have from Jesus of, when all the stuff shows up, you don't have to dive in. You can just remain in your truth bubble. And in further on in that section, Cora Fillmore states very clearly, truth needs no defense. You don't have to dive in and bicker and get into all the chaos that's showing up. So there is strength in realizing when just standing in truth and not getting into resisting what's showing up, that is strength. So that's the second one I want to share with you. The third one is strength as ability. Again, very often we think of strength as, strong, hard, unyielding, that kind of thing. And yet my title today, as you all can see, is Bend Like a Willow. So I did a little hunting around on learning about willow trees, and this has always been the image that comes up for me around strength, is a willow tree. So I did a little research so I could be a little more conversant, because I'm not an arborist. Is that a term for somebody who knows trees? I'm not one of those. From what I learned, willow trees in particular have a really deep and strong, tap root. And in fact, it's often advised that people don't plant them in, say, suburban neighborhoods and things, because that root will go down and get into and get into all kinds of things, because the root is so strong. And yet the plant itself is incredibly flexible. So you see, you can see videos of hurricanes and whatnot, where the more rigid trees that have surface level roots just end up boom, they go down. But the willow can bend itself all the way over, then return. So I just want to use that as an example of looking at flexibility, strength, looking at that notion of going with the flow and not resisting whatever it is that's showing up, and yet holding to your taproot, holding to your core belief is strength. It doesn't, having a core belief doesn't mean that you have to be shouting it into every single bit of chaos that shows up, because you can't change other people, or you can just manage your own stuff. So when stuff shows up, just flow with it. Be flexible. Maintain your core of knowing what your truth is, whatever that is for you. And seeing that. And also another aspect of that I want to point out is that asking for help is a wonderful expression of strength. That I'm willing to be vulnerable and say, I could really use some help with this. That I trust you by reaching out to say, can you help with this? And I think we all know that sometimes asking for help is very difficult.
Yes.
Very, very difficult. I will say that as I went through the ministry path with Unity, you do these periodic interviews, these progress interviews, which are very unnerving because you just have no idea what they're going to ask. But the first layer of it that they were quite insistent on was whether or not you're comfortable asking for help. Because I think perhaps there are personality types that just want to be everything for everybody, and then they end up burning out. They get burned out, they can't, because that mechanism of asking for help is not present. So it's not exactly linked up with flexibility, but I think, it ties in with all of these things. Because say you're using your strength to hold on to this notion that I can do this, I can take care of everything, and you won't let go of it enough to ask for help. So it kind of ties all these things together. So with all of this talking about strength, just to reiterate kind of the three takeaways I would like to suggest are just remembering that source is your strength, and source is infinite, and you have an infinite capacity to tap into that. You can work with your thoughts and feelings, because your thoughts might show up again, I can't do that. And the trick is always to get the garbage thoughts out of the way. Clear a space so that you can tap into strength. And as someone who has practiced this and found it to be real and true and really, really useful. So knowing that your source is all that is, or that which you call God, or whatever it is you call it, that's where all the strength is, and you have access to that. And also to just think in different sort of ways. Look at strength as non-resistance. Look at strength as flexibility. And bend like a willow. So I have just a couple more things before I finish up. I do want to mention that, once I bring one of these messages on the 12 powers, we continue talking about them on Thursday evenings in our class where we're following the book Divine Audacity. And one of the things that I haven't mentioned out of all of the different possibilities I had today, one of the things I haven't mentioned is the story from the Bible on David and Goliath, which is, a very classic kind of,
Yes.
all kinds of themes of strength. Well, that's where we're going to go on Thursday night. Talks about that in this chapter on strength. So just to, as a teaser for class, and then we'll continue, because the themes that Reverend Linda Martella Whitsett brings forth in that chapter on strength are stability, courage, and tenacity. So we'll continue to explore those over the next weeks on Thursday evenings. So I just want to close with one more thing around strength, and it's a Japanese proverb. fall down 7 times, get up 8. And there's a friend of mine, a young man I know, who he posted using that. It's one of his favorite phrases. He has it dude inside his arm, and he made a little post about it, and I was like, thank you. I did comment and said, I'm going to use that tomorrow. And when I looked it up to just get a little more origin on it, there was a whole article about reporters that showed up in Japan following one of the, and I think it was around 2011, just those episodes of earthquakes and tsunamis and thousands of people and all these things, and that the reporters were just amazed at the gentle, peaceful, just the attitude of the people as they just kind of, they weren't reacting in all kinds of ways. And when they were asked about it, this proverb was given as an example of culturally how this quality of recognizing that things are going to happen. Things are going to happen in this life, I mean, sometimes you're driving along and you're hit by a truck. It was just what happened to me. Things are going to happen. You might fall down 7 times. The thing is that you just get back up. You just keep tapping into that well. So that's my closing thought for you all is
Very good.
fall down 7 times, get up 8. So,
Beautiful.
so that's it for that. All right, so let's take all of this and move into a few minutes of meditation.
Do the light.
We're gonna adjust the lighting here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, let's start as we always do with a couple of deep breaths. So just as you breathe in and out, just quiet the mind. Just set aside all the things that we've been talking about and all the busyness of your morning so far, or depending on when you're listening to this, what has been going on in your day. To just quiet the mind. Move your awareness into the heart space. And from the heart space, let's travel down to the lower back, which is the seat of our strength. And from there, if you will imagine a bright green light, like a green, the green of a willow. And feel that light expanding. Move it down through your legs, through the knees, to the ankles, to the toes, and anywhere that has been feeling out of sorts or acting ornery, shine it in there. Just shine that green light of strength. And let's move back up to the lower back and take that green light and extend it all the way up through the spine. And as we go, expand it outward to enfold all of the organs and the rib cage, the heart, the lungs, the shoulders, the arms, elbows, wrists, fingers. Just shine that green light. Come back up to the neck, up through the neck, and out into the skull and beyond, just bathing the entire body in this bright green light. And again, paying close attention on here, just bathe it in that green light, affirming that I am one with infinite strength. Bless the body for all that it has done for you through all the steps of your life so far. Isn't it a wonder all this body has done for you? All these eyes have seen, words that have been spoken, all the relationshiping that has been all through this wonderful vehicle of the body. So we envelop the body in gratitude. We praise it for all that it has done. And we also ask forgiveness for any moments in which we are holding messages of our body that tell it that it's crotchety or old or broken. We offer our apologies for that and let that go. And move into a space of holding strength for our body. And also, let us spring into our awareness, our consciousness. So all of our thoughts that show up that tell us that we are not strong enough, not good enough, we let those go and just rain this green light down upon them, washing them clean and moving us into a space where we acknowledge our expression of and acts to unlimited strength. So we're going to take that image and just move into the stillness together right now. And as we begin to bring our focus back to right here, now, in this place, just wiggle your toes a little bit, wiggle your seat, wiggle your fingers, and allow your outer eyes to drift open as we seal the process with an affirmation. And that affirmation is, I am one with infinite strength. Say it with me.
I am one with infinite strength.
Let's do it again with more vigor, my friends.
I am one with infinite strength.
And one more time with your outside voices.
I am one with my infinite strength.
And so it is.
Very.
One step closer to being in the class. So,
It's really good. Really good.
Well, I'll be back Thursday. I'm gonna set it along.
Excellent. Well, I remind everyone, all they need to do is look at the calendar,
Yes.
and it'll show what we're studying, what the pages are.
Yep.
Yes, what
Yeah.
she said.
It's right on the
It is
website.
on the website.
Yeah.
Man.
Yes, it is.
Website, www.uofv.org in the calendar. Click on any Thursday and it will tell you exactly what's going to be covered, what pages in the book are going to be covered. It has the Zoom link. And if you are part of that discussion group, Chris posts it every Thursday, so you don't have to go searching around. Thank you for doing that, by the way. That's amazing. And thank you so much for that. That was totally perfect.
That's good timing,
It was
right?
great. That was huge.
Yep.
Okay, it's time.
Yes.
Time and love offerings. Phew, my brain just went. Divine love
Love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give.
So I give you a few moments to do your technology thing, like grab my phone and do my little PayPal. Because it's that easy. We have a bowl. We have links bar
Mhm.
for you to make your donations. I like to do PayPal for me because it's just so click, click, done, done.
We have the square.
We have Square,
And you can also do recurring giving,
and you can
which
talk
is
about how
I
you
manage
did
it,
that.
so I do not have to like remember all
Yeah.
the time. I just
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, it's so simple.
And don't forget about Thurman, Brisbane.
Done. And don't forget Thurman, Brisbane. We're in a
Um,
decent space for now.
Yes.
But no, we can
Keep
do
it
that.
going.
So
Keep it
keep
going.
it going. Keep it
Going
going.
and growing.
Yes, thank you. Okay, we'll now offer a final blessing for our offerings. Acknowledge the source of all that is. We hold an attitude of gratitude for these tithes and love offerings that have been freely given. We are so grateful for the many ways that our gifts will serve the community. And we enfold the loving souls who have rested prayers in the absolute truth of God, declaring with pure faith that all prayers are heard and responded to in the highest expression of God's will. And so it is. Amen. Peace song.
All right.
There you go.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Amen. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Thank you for being with us and sharing your life today.
Namaste. Thank you. Very good.